my transition from engineering to science to advocacy now is sort of mostly happenstance, and mostly a lot of people taking a risk on me, taking a chance on me. And I think all of my life, as I look at the career path that I've chosen, or sort of the various things that I've done in my life, it's because somebody took a chance on me. So let me tell you, a little bit of a story. When I was 16 and studying for my high school graduation year, I wanted to be a literary critic, because I loved reading, and I thought, well, what a great job that would be. There were educators in my family, there was writers in my family. I wanted to be a literary critic. And my father told me, well, that's all well and good, but you need to be able to put food on the table. And being a literary critic is somewhat like being a sports star or being a famous writer. I mean, it takes not only a lot of skill and a lot of ability, but it also takes a lot of luck. And so I figured, well, then I better do something that will put food on the table. And that's when, I grew up in India, so there were only a couple of different options for somebody who wanted to be educated, either become a doctor or an engineer. And so I hated biology. I hated zoology. I couldn't stand the thought of cutting up animals, cutting up people. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do engineering. So that's where I started my journey. And once I went through and did my engineering courses, and I decided that it's not enough to stop at a BS in engineering. I really needed to move on and get a better degree. And so I decided to work on my PhD, on my doctorate. And I came to the United States to do my doctorate, in part because doing a doctorate in India meant that it would take 7 to 10 years, and I didn't want to take that long. So I figured, okay, I can do it in 4 years or 5 years if I came to the US. So I came to Northwestern. I studied material science and engineering. My thesis was on electronic ceramics. And that was very interesting. I really had a good time working on experiments, on creating computer programs to run my experiments, and working on a variety of things. Around the same time, once I finished my PhD, I thought I would work as a scientist for a while, and I worked at the university as a scientist, but I worked not on electronic materials, but in the area of cement. And I did research on cement and cement-based materials. So things like concrete, things like what makes cement harden quickly. Can you make it harden quickly? Can you make it not crack? If you've noticed on the road, sometimes, or on the pavement, there are lots of cracks. So studying that kind of work. And so from there, then I went to work for a cement factory, and worked in a cement factory, and went on to work on a variety of other kinds of industries. And one day but all along this time, I was also volunteering for an organization. I think I mentioned it earlier, called Upnagar. I mentioned an organization called Upnagar, which serves, as I said, South Asian victims of domestic violence. And as I was volunteering there for many, many years, one day I got a call from the founder of the organization, and she said, "Sujata, we're looking for an executive director." And in the meantime, while I was working at these factories and so on, I'd also got an MBA, a degree in business. And so this was a combination when this woman who called me up, who I admired greatly, it was hard for me to say no. I'm like, okay, it's a challenge. Let me see what I can do. They were looking for somebody who could run the organization, who could build the organization. I had just got an MBA. I'd run a big department. This was about the same size. I'm like, okay, why not? What could be? It couldn't be so different. So I decided to apply for the job. Again, the people who were interviewing me, the board of the organization, took a chance on me. And that was my first shift into the world of nonprofits. And it was one of the most amazing experiences I had. I learned so much in that position. It stretched me in so many different ways. I met with so many people. I met movie stars, and I met women who had been stabbed multiple times. So the whole range of the kinds of people that you might meet, that you would never otherwise, as my working in a factory, I would never have had a chance to meet.